Gemini, someone's decision surprises you this month. At first, it's going to seem like it's going to impact you negatively. Pause, breathe, and go back to the drawing board. Turns out it is going to be the perfect plot twist. Gemini, the spiritual advice card that fell out for you for the entire month of January 2022 is the Ace of Diamonds. So when this card fell out, the first thing that I thought to myself was, it's not really connected to you, but you end up basically receiving the benefits of somebody else's decision. But again, at first, like I mentioned before, it feels like that things are not going to go in a particular direction, or there could be some doubt whether things are going to work out or not. And I think that you're going to sort of grapple with that in the middle of the month. But as soon as you start to come through that full moon in Cancer, this Ace of Diamonds is going to turn to a brand new opportunity for you to either increase value of some sort, whether that is money, whether that is your value or like your position at work. This can also have to do with basically an opportunity that is arising for you to make a bigger step towards a new approach in your future. But all of that is still brewing. You know, the stuff that is unfolding here with the Ace of Diamonds for you is that this month, somebody is going to make a decision that is making you rethink your approach to certain outcomes that you were expecting. So let's dive into the astrology and see where this full moon is unfolding for you. All right, Gemini, so here is the chart we're going to be taking a look at for the full moon in Cancer. That's where we're going to start this reading out with. And so for you, Gemini, the full moon is coming together between your 8th house and the 2nd house. Now, the 8th and 2nd house, what are these houses? Let's dive into it. The 8th house is a time that illuminates where you are involved in all things that are under the umbrella of commitment. This also has to do with boundaries. It can have to do with sex, intimacy, drugs, the underworld, you know, things that are maybe more on the mysterious side or on the side of deep psychology. It can oftentimes just have to do with shared resources or inheritance. So it's a very private house. These are things that are happening behind the scenes in our privacy, but it can be very much in a way where this is private, like not everybody has access to this part of our life. So the sun is here illuminating this aspect. At the time when the full moon is occurring, the full moon is going to be in the 2nd house, taking a look at the 8th house. And what is the 2nd house all about? The 2nd house in a nutshell is the house where we are involved in spendings or something that has to do with our security, but in the tangible items, money. And oftentimes for me, what my experience has been with the 2nd house is it deals with things that have to do with supportive relationships, or what does it mean to have a supportive relationship, right? There are values here that are arising, or the energy of values or self-worth that are arising that we could be potentially taking a look at during this cycle. So we start the week out feeling a little bit more emotional than maybe in the norm. Like that might not be the way that we usually feel. So the week starts out with this very heightened level of emotion, a very particular emotion. It's going to be different for everyone, but for you, it has to do between these two houses we just mentioned. So the moon jumpstarts this, I'm ready, and I'm not wanting to go back. I want to move forward type of feeling. So that is what you can expect during this week. Now, the other theme that I personally think, and I'm predicting is going to be really important here is that we are, even though we're emotional, we're wanting to be cautious. So there's a part of us that wants to move forward and we're fed up with a particular situation in our life, but we're wanting to be still cautious. So we're treading with caution, but we're also ready. And so with that comes the sense of wanting to protect an aspect of our life that we feel very passionate about. So it's a very passionate full moon. And for you, it will have to do with the themes of money and self-worth. And what do you ultimately want to commit to? And you're moving forward and having a breakthrough in these two themed houses that I just mentioned. Now, what's so important during this week is that we can't just take a look at the full moon in Cancer. We have to take a look at what else is happening, right? And what kind of backs the story and illuminates an even bigger thing is what is happening on the 19th. There is a switch that is occurring with the North nodes. The North nodes have been for you in the first and in the seventh house over the last 18 months. And I want to recap real quick what that means here. So the first and the seventh house, the North node in Gemini has been really creating a different sort of investment that you're making when it comes to who you are, your appearance, your social behavior, and how you actually present yourself. At times, these were external things that were coming into your life that made you rethink who you are and how you portray yourself, or what your social behavior is going to be moving forward. And at times, it was something that you maybe reviewed because based on your mindset, because with Gemini, we're taking a look at mindset, taking a look at the intellectual aspect of our entire life. And so for you in the first house, you could have had a lot of mindset shifts when it comes to who you are, and also a lot of mindset shifts when it comes to your body, right? And your appearance. So over the last 18 months, you've been working this aspect over, where the South Node in the seventh house has been realigning you to what's true inside of your relationships as a result of who you are. So the way that you handle your body, the way that you handle your appearance, the way that you handle how you portray yourself, and shifts that have occurred in this area, then realigned what the new truth is for you inside of your bonds to other people, inside of your bonds to maybe even business partners or people that you have some kind of agreement to, whether it is verbal or not. Now, these are the two houses that are now, the chapter is closed. We're closing that chapter, and there's a new chapter that is opening up. And that new chapter is being illuminated on the 19th, when the North Node now is going into your 12th house. And we'll discuss what the sixth house also means with the South Node. But where are the nodes going into? They're going into Taurus, fixed earth, and Scorpio, fixed water. This is huge. It's a different kind of reality. It's a different kind of story now that we are going to be reviewing. And the themes of these are going to be a lot about our value and our story that we are basically here to execute. Like, what is that? Especially for you, because the 12th house has a lot to do with the cosmos. It has a lot to do with who you are inside of the story of your spirituality, any kind of introspection work. So there's a up leveling that is going to happen over the next 18 months, because the North Node in Taurus is going to be there. Now, the South Node is going to be in your sixth house in the sign of Scorpio. The sixth house has a lot to do with a time where you are going to be examining, re-examining, and realigning your daily habits. The sixth house is a daily habits house. It also is a house that has a lot to do with what I call the obstacle course. You know, from the time you wake up until you go to bed, like, what are some of the responsibilities or sets of rhythms and daily responsibilities that you have? What are those, and how do you navigate them? Do you navigate them in a way where it leaves you burned out and you are feeling like, okay, this was too much in my day? Or are there things in the day where you're actually also doing something where you're becoming receptive, right? Where there is a sense of receiving and a sense of like taking life in as well, versus just putting all of your energy out and maybe not getting anything back. So there is a boundary sort of reevaluation that is going to be happening in the sixth house, but it progresses over the next 18 months, because that is how the North and the South Node are going to be moving through these houses. Degree by degree, we're going to be reviewing what it means for you guys, especially in the world of spirituality and your faith, and then what does that look like in the sixth house. So what I'm predicting for a lot of you actually is that you're going to feel a lot more spiritual over the next 18 months. By the time that this transit comes to an end, my prediction for you is that you will have let go of things that used to hold true to you and in your life that were super close to you, and they've gotten you physically, in a sense, to a certain point. But now you have to step outside of the realm of the just physical. There is something more in the telepathic realm, in the cosmos realm, in the God consciousness, the oceanic consciousness that you will be reaching for, that will change and shape the way in which you live day to day. So that's my prediction for you guys over the next 18 months is we're going to take a look more at this over the course of these predictions, but I feel essentially this is what's going to happen. Now, what's so interesting about the nodal switches and the time that this full moon is happening is that the sun is going to, the day after the full moon happens, the sun is going to be trining the North Node in Taurus. What does that mean? Well, you're illuminating a completely different vision now for the future. This is where suddenly you start to realize, wow, my life is taking and going in a new direction. It's like taking on a new energy and it's going in a different direction. And I'll never have to look back to this time in my life that has shaped me up until this point. Now the story is changing and you get the glimpses of that. It's like a glimpse of like, okay, this is where things are going now. I'm able to feel my way through this now. And because the other thing that is happening here is that Uranus, at the day where the Sun trine North Node is happening, Uranus is going to now start to go direct as well. So there is a sudden new approach, a surprising element to a part of your life that's ending, and a new reality that is manifesting. Uranus has a lot to do with thinking outside of the box, responsible for us to think outside of the box, and also responsible for us to have a completely different approach and doing things very differently. And so Uranus stations to go direct as well. It's such a big week. It's sort of like, wow, you know, our life is suddenly going in a new direction or in a different direction that maybe we didn't expect. That is the sense that I'm getting, what is going to be unfolding when this week starts to happen. So that is for the powerful full moon in Cancer. The next thing that I do want to also mention that is very big, and that is when on January 29th, Venus is going to start to go direct. Now, Venus has entered your 8th house, and it's been here since November 5th. November 5th until December 19th, that's when Venus has been direct, climbing all the way up to 26 degrees, stopped, and started retrograding from that moment forward. So it's still in the retrograde, and it will start to move forward on January 29th. So let's recap real quick. What does that mean for you? Well, Venus in this house turns things very private. So you could have experienced all of your desires and the goals and things that you're trying to create in your life that have a lot of meaning for you, that define your safety and security. You've been working maybe in the background a lot on these types of themes. Venus turns this house very private. Your relationships become private. Your desires, your wants, your needs, and everything that you're working out in regards to this becomes private. Now, for some of you, you may have had this experience where you are private about a different relationship in your life that has entered, or you're private about some type of new relationship dynamic that is occurring that you are working out, or it's been there for a while, but you are now starting to realize that this relationship, something about that needs to change, or you're wanting to make changes in regards to this specific relationship in your life. And for a lot of you, it is one particular person. Now, the goals and the desires and the wants are changing in the background. There is a different kind of relationship dynamic that you want to build. And so what I think a lot of you have been doing is you're examining what doesn't fit, what's not the truth anymore about this relationship. Where is the boundary being crossed, and how does that fit into the narrative of the story you've been living inside your relationships up until this point? There's a part of you that doesn't want this anymore. There's a part of you that wants a new beginning here. And a lot of you could have actually a very specific fated ending that is happening, and then a fated beginning that is coming out of it, which is huge. Like, that's a big change, because those types of occurrences in our life can very much impact how we move forward. It's not just our everyday, living. The eighth house has the power to make things final, but at the same time, it just brings this catharsis. That's the word that comes to mind for the month, especially for the month of January 2022. It's for you guys in the eighth house. This is a deep house. This is where you're diving a lot more into who you are and what defines your security in life, and things that make sense. They start to come up when Venus starts to station to go direct. Venus is going to come to 11 degrees and it's going to start to move forward from that point forward. It starts to move forward. It's going to come with clarity. That's what I'm predicting for a lot of us. And for you in particular, it's going to come with clarity with what makes sense now, and peeling some particular circumstance back to the truth. You're peeling it back. You're peeling that onion layer back, and you're saying, okay, well, I don't want this to be this way in my life anymore. So I think that it comes sort of, again, like I said, the themes with an ending, a beginning, and then just feeling clear. And that brings a sense of coming back home. That is what I'm getting with this Venus station to go direct, is that there is a sense of coming back home for you. And that's what I'm predicting. And let's move on now to your tarot reading. So of course, the first card that I have here is the Ace of Diamonds. The Ace of Diamonds is a card that has a lot to do with what we talked about in the very beginning. Someone's decision that is going to be impacting you here. That has a lot to do with a new journey that begins. And the Ace of Diamonds is very karmic. It's a karmic event that's happening. It's fated. It is a new beginning in a sense when it comes to a particular skill set that you have, or a particular action, a deliberate action that you're going to be taking. And somehow it also ties into either real estate, it ties into money of some sort, or some kind of a possession. So it's a new beginning here. The very next card, or the first card that we see for any other general themes, is the Seven of Cups. So this month has a lot to do with making choices based on, there's a hot spot here. And this hot spot has a lot to do with, you feel that someone in particular is challenging you. Okay, we see the snake that is coming out in the Seven of Cups. One of the cups is red. For the ones that are only listening to this for the podcast version, the cup is red. There is a snake that's coming out of it. Okay, generally speaking, this has to do with an aspect of your life that has to be emotionally looked at, because this aspect of your life requires for you to free it up. Why? Let's take a look at why. What is the emotional theme underneath it, okay? And why is this important to you at this time? We're going to take a look at all of it. The reason it's important to you is because it is creating relentlessly worry. Are you worried that you're not going to be able to make the changes in your life that you want? You're not going to be able to move on? Are you worried that you are always going to be stuck in the same exact place of your life and none of it is going to be able to give you sustainability? That's what I believe is happening. The Empress card fell out. This is what you're aiming for. This is what the month is showing you, that you can finally aim for a life you know that you can live, where financial worries or worries about other people and how they will react, it can come to an end. I think that maybe in your mind, you cannot see how it's all going to play out. And that is creating a little bit of an emotional confusion and some friction as well. So in the end, what is happening here is that you are being very supported right now to confront the situation from a genuine place. I think you feel that you've been done wrong somehow, okay? There is a person that's challenging you. But what you need to realize is this person is being selfish and they're not even realizing it. They're not realizing it to the level that you are realizing it. This is really important for you to keep in mind. Not that you don't know, but what's happening is that this situation is helping you to push through your very own fears, and it's helping you to reconnect. There is a white bird in the Nine of Swords. This white bird is what you've forgotten about yourself. What have you forgotten about who you are and what you're really good within your own self? Perhaps what they are doing or what this other person's decision is creating is this uncertainty within you, but really you don't have to be uncertain. You have everything you need in order to create that life that you're looking to create, in order to be in this place where you can really trust yourself, Queen of Pentacles. But that's the growth aspect. The growth aspect is this situation really worth continuing to worry about? Or are you worried about it because there is a part of you that doesn't know how to let things go? These are the questions I believe you're going to be asking yourself. The Queen of Pentacles is a growth period that if you want financial freedom and if you want freedom of the way in which commitments look like, trust is the key word. You got to trust yourself. You got to trust that you are in a place right now where your relationships are showing you what you had not considered about yourself when it comes to your worth and your value. The moment you step into this picture of like, okay, I can forgive myself for going too far with this, or feeling like this person is challenging me, feeling like that I am having to participate in this situation and I don't even want to. I don't even have to, but yet here you are. The only reason this is happening, and I want to clarify this to kind of get through the most important aspect here. The only reason that this is happening is because there's a part of you that truly cannot see that you can actually emotionally trust yourself to create everything moving forward the way you want it and the way that you design it. And this includes relationships that you can trust that are genuine. There's a part of you that's sort of stuck with this, and your relationships are showing you. So what's the missing ingredient, right? The missing ingredient, several cards fell out, so we're going to take a look at all of it. Ace of Pentacles. Wow. So Ace of Diamonds, Ace of Pentacles, not the same thing. However, Ace of Pentacles, again, we see that everything that's unfolding around you right now is an opportunity for you to step into who you are. Who are you? What is the most important aspect right now in your life, and who are you inside of it? It requires for you to cut some things out of your life. It requires for you to move on. And it requires for you to move on in a way where you are taking the risks to stand up for what it is that you believe in, so that you can up level your worth and value in every aspect. So there's a decision attached to this that I think perhaps a part of you is afraid to make. So the way that the month is ending is that you're having a very important conversation with someone who is going to help you see a certain aspect of your life, a certain perspective that you had not considered before. And after that moment, you guys are going to be able to move on. You're going to be able to step into this new chapter of your life, being okay with creating it moment to moment and month to month, week to week, because things are still going to change this year, because people are going to change around you. And so what's
important to keep in mind is that the process that you're in right now has a lot to do with let go, surrender, so that the divine, the universe, can show you what you've been missing, things you didn't even consider before, brand new things, okay? So that's sort of the theme for January 2022. That's sort of the tone that's being set for you.
That's a wrap on today's episode. I hope that you liked this video. I hope that it provided you the guidance that you need in order to navigate through this month. Thank you so much for being here. I would love to stay connected to you, so be sure to subscribe. You can also follow me on Instagram or TikTok at Uprise Astrology Podcast, and I will see you here in the next episode.